and so on, so thank you, Leonard. Bruce, when it comes to sponsors and sponsors activation, is just simply a league on his own. Nobody does it better than him. He has a lot of support as well from Loretta Lucero, who is the owner and CEO of Touchpoint Marketing. She's sitting in the background there. She works very closely with the activation with the sponsors to make sure that the sponsors are happy and they want to come back so that they have a great experience. I want to of course thank Stephen and Showtime and CBS for what they have put behind it. There's such an amount of work to make this fight, to give this fight the wings it sort of like deserves, and hopefully get those records and make those records and break those records, and ultimately create the best possible experience for the fans, whether you watch it in the movie theaters, whether you watch it live in the venue or in closed circuit in bars and restaurants across the United States or in Las Vegas, or of course if you watch it at home with friends, and on live and Showtime pay-per-view. So I want to thank all of those people who have put together all that work, and of course, last but not least, Kelly Swanson. Kelly Swanson, who is the PR director for Golden Boy and is the CEO of her own agency, Swanson Communications. She handles all of Floyd Mayweather Promotions, PR as well. She simply is the gold standard when it comes to fight promotions, and so a great job, a lot of work, and I appreciate it. Now, let's open it up for questions. Yes?
Richard, I noticed on your Scarborough report, we've been covering the U.S. Open, tennis didn't show up there. Part of the reason for that is no good American tennis players, at least male tennis players. So I'm going to ask this. If Mayweather, let's say, loses or retires, does the great boxing economic engine go with it?
That's a very good question. I was this morning on a Fox business show, and they asked me that question as well. Does the sport live or die by Floyd Mayweather or by its stars, as it is correctly so the case in many other sports? And that you know, when Oscar La Hoya retired, I got a call from Mark Taffet back then from HBO pay-per-view, and he said, well, you know, Richard, it's going to be a long time before we are going to see fights producing on a regular basis seven-figure pay-per-view numbers. I don't think we are ever going to experience that again. And so I said, well, you know, we can just, I mean, what do you want me to say? Just keep on going. He retired. And here we are, the best time ever for pay-per-view, because you obviously had Floyd Mayweather assume the mantle and take it, frankly, to yet a different level by having the highest average of any fighter ever in the history of sport when it comes to pay-per-view. I think his average is like around 1.4 million homes per fight. And so who would have ever expected that? And the day will come when Floyd Mayweather is going to retire, whether if he would lose on September 14th, or whether he's going to do a rematch, or eventually down the road. I mean, he's not going to fight forever, but there are so many other young fighters waiting in the wings to sort of like take on that mantle, whether if it's an Adrian Broner or a Danny Garcia or a Matisse or others. You know, there's so many young fighters there which are like ready to go, and which are competing at the highest level, which are Americans, which are world champions, which are in the pound-for-pound rankings. And I think that's the difference to tennis, where you don't really have that, you know. So that's why the support system is very important, and that's why I'm so encouraged with the sport of boxing as well, because these Fox shows we're doing on Monday nights, they are exactly there to expose these young, upcoming fighters to a wider audience and help keep that pipeline going of developing the next pay-per-view stars.
And let me interject also too, that's why, another reason why Floyd